morning. Thanks very much for joining us. Last week, we gave you a debriefing about the Republican National Convention in Cleveland with our colleague on the scene there, Paul Eben. Well, this week, of course, this past week, it was the Democrats' turn, and joining us here in the studio for a little inside look is my colleague Liam Martin, fresh off the highway from Philly. Welcome back, Liam.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good to see you here. Do you have a decent meal all week?
Lots of hot dogs. Lots of hot dogs. $8.50 hot dogs.
$8.50.
Exactly.
Well,
reasonably priced.
That's like a Fenway Frank.
It is.
It's really not that beyond the pale. All right, well, good to have you back. There was so much chatter all week long about the rift within the party, the Bernie Sanders delegates, the protests both in and outside of the hall. Put it in some context for us. How disruptive was it, if it was disruptive?
It was disruptive Monday, for sure.
Yeah.
That was shortly after the WikiLeaks stuff had come out, the DNC kind of supporting Hillary Clinton when they were supposed to be neutral. So Monday, there was a lot of anger, both inside the arena and outside as well. In fact, in terms of the total number of people protesting outside of the arena and in downtown Philadelphia, there were actually more protesters than there were in Cleveland. And there were a lot of protesters in Cleveland as well. Through the course of the week, I think the party was able to unite. You had a couple of speeches that helped unite people. Michelle Obama's speech Monday night kind of helped. And then on top of that, Bernie protesters started protesting outside and not as much in the arena itself.
Now, I'm curious about that because on Thursday, the final day, we saw that the organizers of the convention were circulating a list to Clinton delegates of chants that they were supposed to go into to mask the chanting of Bernie delegates. And they certainly, I guess, were very nervous about anything happening during Hillary Clinton's speech. How much in evidence was all of that?
So what was interesting, where we were on the second floor above the arena, the California delegation was the one making a lot of the noise on behalf of Bernie Sanders.
Naturally.
During the whole week. And even for Hillary Clinton's speech, they were making noise. You would see, I don't know if you remember seeing from the shots, there were people in fluorescent green shirts.
Yeah.
Those were the protesters. Most of them were just silently protesting with their green shirt, or they'd stand around, or they put tape on their mouths, that sort of thing. But some of them, even during Hillary Clinton's speech, were making noises. They were chanting WikiLeaks, that sort of thing. And it was true that Hillary Clinton supporters would right away drown them out with Hillary chants, USA chants, and so they did a pretty good job of masking it. They were prepared for that, and they did a pretty good job of masking it.
Did you observe bad blood?
Yes. There was bad blood. I think it was a very small contingent.
Okay.
It was a loud but small contingent of people who were still really upset. When you look at the polling, depending on the way that you define it, anywhere between 70 to 90% of Bernie Sanders supporters are going to vote for Hillary Clinton at this point. She needs to do better than 70% for sure. But that 30 to 10% of people who still aren't ready yet are loud and they're upset, and they were voicing that even while she was speaking.
And I guess to put it in context, we have to realize the people that showed up are the real hardcore activists who've been in this all along. There may be a lot of Sanders supporters at home who aren't thrilled with the way it came out, but are perhaps more likely to be there come November.
And I think that's where you get your 70 to 90%. The people who aren't following this really closely, who aren't looking at every single one of those DNC emails that were leaked, and just saying, I prefer Hillary over Donald Trump. That's probably where I'm going to go. Okay.
Well, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll want to get your perspective on some of the speeches that maybe viewers didn't focus on because they weren't in prime time. And we'll do that as we continue our convention debrief in a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back. Talking with my colleague Liam Martin, who's just back from Philadelphia, where he covered the Democratic National Convention for us. And, you know, I was here from mid-afternoon when they hit the gavel watching the telecast. But most of our viewers, frankly, you know, are not tuning into all of it. The preponderance are probably catching the prime time, the big names, the Obamas, Bill Clinton, and so forth. What about in these sort of undercard speeches? What stood out to you as a memorable moment that people might want to hop on their computer and go back and take a look at?
The father of the Muslim soldier.
Oh, yeah.
Yesterday, this was an incredibly powerful moment. This is a man who had emigrated from the United Arab Emirates. His son became a soldier and was killed in battle, an American soldier.
In Desert Storm, I think.
In Desert Storm. He got onto the stage with his wife and gave this very emotional speech about the legacy of his son and said, "We are patriotic Muslim Americans." And the most powerful moment was when he said, "Donald Trump, have you read the Constitution?" And he actually pulled the Constitution out. He put it toward the camera and he said, "It says right in here, freedom of religion, equal protection under the law." That was a powerful moment that many people probably didn't see because it wasn't in prime time. And then Gabby Giffords, the Arizona congresswoman who was shot in the head 4 or 5 years ago, she made a speech. It was a very short speech. She can't speak entirely well yet, but that was a powerful moment too.
I heard somewhere that the speech by the father that you just referenced, that at least some of it was ad-libbed. Do you know offhand if that was true?
I couldn't see the teleprompter from my perspective, but it did seem like it was more off the cuff than anything
And
else.
it really excited the crowd.
It certainly did. They got behind him for sure.
Well, look, Liam, we all know, there's no secret about this, it's crucial that Hillary Clinton drive high turnout from key groups from the so-called Obama coalition, most notably Latinos and African Americans. What, if anything, did you observe about their response to what went on? Do they come out of this highly motivated, or?
I think they already were. I mean, when you look at the numbers, Donald Trump, even in some of the battleground states, is polling at 0 with black Americans. He's not polling much better with Latinos because of some of the things that he said, and some of those communities feel slighted. But what I do think that I think they want to bat that one out of the park. And the way that they did that was by putting a very diverse set of speakers onto that stage.
Hey, it's good to have you back.
Thank you.
In one piece?
Yes, I am.
Do you want to go back to another one?
We'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
I gotta recover from this one first.
It's a little early to ask that. Appreciate your time. Thanks, Liam. That's Liam Martin, my colleague. So that's it for us. Right now, I'm going to send it back to my colleagues for more WBZ News.